So Black Ops 6 Zombies has been out for a few days now, and it's gotten a bit of mixed reviews. It's been a mixed bag, if you will. I saw Coach Ferret talk about this, so I wanted to do the same. What's crack-a-lackin' Big Smackin'? My name is Simple, or help me spell backwards, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today, I wanted to talk about my hot takes, opinions, reviews, and overall sentiment around Black Ops 6 Zombies and the Zombies community as a whole, and so that's what I'm going to do. Now, on one hand, you have Black Ops 6 Zombies fans already. There are fans of Black Ops 6 Zombies that are currently going crazy. They love the game. It's the best game to ever be made. It is the best game since Black Ops 3. It's the best game since Black Ops 4. Modern Zombies is here. We're back. We are so back. All of that. And then you have, on the other hand, and in the other side of the court, you have people who are saying it is dog shit, it's just Cold War II, it is not good, it's terrible, it'll never go back to the way it was, Zombies is ruined, it's lost its identity, etc. And look, I understand both point of views, I understand both sides of things, but one thing I want to get off my chest right now, and one thing I need to say because I am so tired of seeing it said, not every Zombies game needs to be Black Ops 3 Zombies. Not every Zombies game needs to be Black Ops 2 Zombies. Just because you liked another Zombies game more does not make this game bad. You are not right because you think it's Cold War II and it's garbage. That is your opinion, and it is not fact. On the other side of things, just because you like this game a lot and you love this game does not make it the best game on the planet. It has its flaws, it has its issues, 100%. But I personally do think that this game is the best game to come out since Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. I can't really decide which one yet, but for me, this is a top game, possibly as of right now. It could change depending on how the year goes, but definitely a top 3 game when it comes to launch, because this had a great launch so far. For the record, that's counting only Treyarch games. If we're counting non-Treyarch games, I would say Infinite Warfare definitely beats it. I love Infinite Warfare. It is easily my probably 4th favorite game right now. But in general, it is the best one to come out in a long time. I will admit the multiplayer feels a bit the exact same as it's always been. It doesn't really feel much different, just the movement feels a lot more fluid. That's all for me, personally. Maybe it's a bit different for you, I don't know. I do like the multiplayer, it's not like I don't like it, but it's nothing new to me, and I'm not really too turned on by it. As for campaign I haven't really touched yet, but I've heard a mixed bag. I've heard it's good until like the end, so we'll see how I feel about that ultimately, but back to Zombies. All the people who are saying this game feels like Warzone, before the game came out, I can understand that argument a little bit more, but after the game's out, I don't think that makes any sense, and I think that you actually sound stupid when you say that, and I'm fully willing to say that. It does not play like Warzone in any way, shape, or form. The only similarity it has whatsoever in any way, shape, or form is the armor plate system, and even then, that has been a thing in MWZ, it's a thing in the campaign, it is not just Warzone. Now look, obviously you're allowed to not like the game, that's perfectly fine. I just think some of the complaints that have been made about the game don't make much sense. For example, another one being, this game feels like Cold War II. It is a sequel to Cold War. I don't know why you thought you were getting Black Ops 3 again, or the Second Coming of Christ, or Black Ops 4 again, or Black Ops 2 again, whatever game you prefer the most. It's never going to be like that. It hasn't been like that ever. World at War is a drastically different game than Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 is a drastically different game than Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is a drastically different game from Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 is a drastically different game from Black Ops 4. It is no different. Every game continues to evolve and change over time, and you may not like the current changes that are being made, and that's completely understandable. But to make the argument that it doesn't feel like anything other than a Cold War sequel when it is literally supposed to be a sequel to Cold War doesn't make much sense to me, and honestly doesn't hold much merit inside of an actual argument about whether or not the game is good. That's another thing, by the way. Just because you don't like a game does not make it bad. My first Call of Duty Zombies game was World at War when I was 7. Then I got a little bit older and played Black Ops 1, then Black Ops 2, and I literally grew up with the franchise. And yes, I wasn't old enough at the time to really understand everything, but I grew up with it. As I grew up, I understood it more and more and went back and played more and more. I am not a new kid to zombies. I am a grown adult who has been playing this his entire life almost. And I have to say, I don't see the argument of it not feeling like zombies. To each their own, though. I am going to now move into my review of the Zombies game and the experience itself. Is it the best thing to come ever since Black Ops 3 or in general? Is it the second coming of Jesus Christ? Is it the best game in the franchise? No, it's not. But it's also not the worst game in the franchise, and it's not even close to the worst. I do think that this is a top tier game for me, maybe top 5. I don't know if I would say that it is top 5 in general. We'll have to see after the year ends, but for launch-wise, it is a top launch. Black Ops 3 had Shadows of Evil, which wasn't well received whenever it first launched, and The Giant, which was well received, but we had already played it before because it was de-released but remade. Black Ops 2 Zombies had Transit, which was not well received at all, plus all the survival maps, which were, a mixed bag. Some of them were good, some were bad, but, overall, it wasn't too well received either at launch. And then we get to Black Ops 4, and that game kept blue screening, and while everyone was excited for it, it wasn't exactly what we wanted when we first got it. People are now going back and saying Black Ops 4 was awesome, but at launch, it wasn't really that great. And by the way, I'm not insulting these games. I love Black Ops 3, I love Black Ops 4, and I love Black Ops 2. Even for nostalgia reasons, I love Black Ops 1 and World at War as well. I'm just saying that they didn't have great launches, and while a lot of people can complain about these launches and these maps with Terminus and Liberty Falls, I personally think that they're not that bad, and the community, at least half of them, have received it pretty well. As for the maps themselves, Liberty Falls is the one I'll start with. I think the Easter egg is fun. It's nothing crazy. It's pretty simple. It was easy to understand. It was pretty quick, and it was solved within, I think, a couple hours of the game coming out, which was just insane if you were there for launch day. And along with that, the map is pretty casual friendly. It is obviously the one that more people are going to be playing, which is actually a prediction I made before the game came out, is that Liberty Falls is going to be played more than Terminus. It's not that it's better than Terminus, it's just that Liberty Falls is a more casual experience, and it is a more fun time for just camo grinding, or overall just trying to get a quick Easter egg run done, or trying to get anything really fast done, or anything done in a much more simple way. Liberty Falls is going to be your route to go. I don't think it's a bad map. The aesthetic is really pleasing for me personally. I know a lot of people don't like it, but the daytime aesthetic after playing Terminus was just a nice little breather and break. So for me, I didn't mind the aesthetic and the look of Liberty Falls. I thought it was okay, and I think that the wonder weapon, the jet gun, is overpowered as fuck in the best way possible, and I hope it does not get in any way, shape, or form nerfed. Please, Treyarch, we do not need to nerf things in a PvE mode, but I do genuinely believe that the Wonder Weapon is an amazing gun. It's cool to see the jet gun come back. There are so many fun side quests to do on this map as well. It is really, really fun, and I don't think at all that it deserves all the hate that it got before the map came out. I think that Treyarch cooked a little bit with this map. It's a good casual map. It's not the best map ever, but it is definitely a pretty good map, and I'm not going to rate it as one of the worst maps of all time. It holds nothing against Vanguard or AW when it comes to the worst maps ever made. And then there is the beautiful, wondrous map that is Terminus. I fucking adore this map. I love this map, and this is the map that whenever Cold War fanboys, the people who started on Cold War, and the people who really adore Cold War, this is the map that they go to when they finally decide it's time to grow a nutsack and start playing zombies the way it's meant to be. And you might not agree with that, but I genuinely think the Easter egg is a beefy Easter egg with a really fun double boss fight. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but the boss fight, the first one is really fun against Nathan. It's like a mini boss fight, and then the second one against the Kraken is really, really cool and really fun, and it is a really hard but achievable boss fight nonetheless. It's not necessarily the hardest one that we've ever had, but it is a fun time, and you play alone or play with your friends, I can see either way you having a good time and just enjoying the map or enjoying the boss fight. The aesthetic is extremely pleasing, and it is so fun to just run around this map and figure out new stuff that's going on. Terminus and Liberty Falls were both solved launch day to my knowledge, but man, I don't care. They were so fun to play through. I haven't had this much fun playing a single map as I have since Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4, and that is what gets me to say that this game is something I enjoy the most since then. Oh my god, it is a fun time. The Easter egg is cool and fun to solve. There's some complicated steps, some steps that anyone can get, some steps that people really have to look for. There's a lot of side Easter eggs, just like there is on Liberty Falls. They're not nearly as fun as Liberty Falls, I'd say, as the Liberty Falls ones you turn into a superhero or you go bowling, but on this map there are a lot of ones, like for example, a permanent double points. What? Like, that is so cool. The map size is awesome, and even though it's the biggest map we've gotten to date, according to Treyarch, it is not nearly as bad as something like Transit that came out in Black Ops 2, which was way too ambitious for its time. They handled the map really well. The aesthetic is really pleasing, and if you don't like this map, you're objectively wrong. Obviously, I'm just joking, but when it comes to Terminus, I really do think it is an amazing map. If this came out on Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4, it would get a hell of a lot of praise, and people would love it to this day. I don't think that this map is in any way, shape, or form bad. I would give this map at least a solid 7 out of 10, and I would probably give Liberty Falls a solid 6 out of 10. Now, really quick, I do want to get into some things I don't like, and then I'll get into a couple things I do like, and I'll give an overall review and some hot takes for you at the end. Now, I feel like it's been said to death at this point, but I do feel like the amount of Mangors that spawn on you once you start hitting the round 30 and up, or even around 20 and up sometimes, is insanely difficult to deal with. Don't get me wrong, it's not really hard, it's just very tedious and annoying. It is annoying to constantly be getting jet blasted out of the air non-stop. It is just not a fun time sometimes to be round 40 or 50 and have to completely destroy your horde so that you can then handle 12 Mangors that are shooting at you at all times, especially on Liberty Falls, but it is not much better with Terminus. And look, Kevin, look, I get it, alright, Kevin Drew, I get it, I do. You love yourself, and I'm talking to you now, Kevin Drew. You love yourself a good Mangler, okay, I get it, you do. You love when they pull out their cannon and they start maining Ryu from Street Fighter and start spamming a Hadouken that was pack-a-punched in the machine, and then they jet blast you out of the air into the fucking atmosphere through your asshole. I get it, you love that. But we do not need to see them come back every single year, and nobody wanted them back. I understand that there are fun moments to be had with them. I get it, and I understand that they increase the difficulty of the game, and that it makes it feel like Cold War, but a bit harder when you have more of them. I'm not saying to turn it down by much, but dude, nobody wanted to see them come back. They were cool on Garad Karovi. They were a little bit cool to see come back on Firebase C, I guess. I don't really know why they were in Outbreak, and I really don't know why they were in MWZ, and now they're here on both Terminus and Liberty Falls, and not only are they here and back again another time, but we are having to not only deal with them, but deal with like 12 of them at a time once you start getting past round 40. It is absolutely absurd. I understand that there is a difficulty measure to it. Like, you can argue that it makes it harder. And look, I understand. I'm not saying it's too hard. I've already gotten to high rounds in this game. I've already beaten the Easter eggs. I'm not really worried about the difficulty part of it at all. I do like that it makes it harder. But my God, we do not need to deal with the same enemy every year. And we really don't need the same enemy every year 100 times per game in every map. It just does not need to happen. It also sucks because there are more new bosses that I would love to see more of. I understand the amalgams are hard to kill and they will straight throw their arm into your urethra and pull you forward, but man are they cool, and man are they fun, and man are they nice to see something new. Same with the Vermins, man. The Vermins are a great addition to the game. I love the Vermins. Now, on that note though, Vermin rounds are incredibly too long. Oh my God, I do not need to spend an hour and a half shooting a bunch of side bosses or side zombies in a little bonus round in between actual rounds. They do not need to be the same length. They should not be the same length, and it is so annoying to constantly have to spend about 20 minutes straight just going through one round of a Vermin round, depending on what strategy you're going through. They take forever, they are very boring, and they just take away from the experience. It is not a good thing. It is not fun. I understand you created a new type of enemy, and it's really cool looking. The Vermin, and they are really cool. I love them a lot, and if you turn off arachnophobia, or turn on arachnophobia mode rather, then they will essentially be good, easy critical hits, because they're right in front of you. But dear God, I do not need these rounds to last as long as they do. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, on Liberty Falls, the Vermin rounds will last super, super long. I'm not sure if the Parasite rounds last as long as the Vermin rounds do whenever you're on Terminus, because on Terminus it's Parasite rounds, but if they do, it's the same way there. They just need to slow these rounds down or get rid of the spawn rates a bit. They don't need to get rid of them completely. I like the rounds, I do. They're cool bonus rounds. They replace dogs in a good way, I think. But man, we do not need them to last so long and need so many Vermins to spawn on those rounds. Now, moving on to some things that I really like about the game and appreciate. I really, really like and appreciate that the game is harder than Cold War. No, it is not the hardest zombies game to have ever come out. The Easter eggs were solved day 1 on launch day, and people were hitting around 250 already that same weekend. I do not think that it is the hardest zombies game ever to be created, but I do think it's a good step forward for it to be this much harder for this compared to Cold War. It is a good step forward. That does not mean it's the hardest game in the world, but it is harder than Cold War, and that's guaranteed. I made a video called Was Cold War Zombies Too Easy? And in that video, I talked about a lot of things. And in that video, I mentioned that there was the Wonder Fizz that would allow you to pretty much essentially, if you went to the Dark Aether enough, it would allow you to get Perkaholic before round 15 or 20 on D Machine or Firebase Z or even Mauer or Forsaken. And this made the game incredibly easy. Plus, we had infinite self-revives, so there was no point in ever worrying about if you were going to down. Just collect enough scrap and you're good. Plus, we had weapon legendary rarity, so if you can get your weapon all the way up to legendary rarity, your gun was pretty much a wonder weapon if you pack-a-punched it. Plus, you could pack-a-punch it 3 times, and in this game, they do essentially include the rarity system, and they do include the pack-a-punch 3 times system, but I actually really like those systems. I just thought they made the game a bit too easy, but now it feels like your bullets do nothing on pack-a-punch 2 at like round 40, so it genuinely does feel like they made the game more difficult. They made it harder to kill the zombies, which is a good thing. And again, I know I complained about them, there being too many, but the mini bosses being in the rounds are a good touch to make it more difficult too. We just don't need as many. I also really like the fact that in this game, there is a lot of ways to die. It is so much harder to train into camp. You can do it for sure, but it is definitely a lot harder to do in this game, especially whenever you consider the fact that the zombie spawns are so insane. They spawn everywhere around you. There's almost no time to really sit still for a second in the middle of a round once you're past round like 20 or 30. On another note, I really like how aesthetically pleasing the maps are and how different they are from each other, and yes, that includes Liberty Falls. I genuinely had a real complaint with Cold War, and I think a lot of people had the same complaint. I don't think Cold War would have been nearly as bad received as it was, or as it has been over time. It hasn't really aged that well. I think part of that comes down to the bland facility-based maps that were boring, and the game was too easy, and I already addressed the easy part, but we really talked about how every map felt like just a bland facility-based map with no creativity to it, and it really feels like they tried to make that different this game, and it really shows. They specifically did go out of their way to make both maps have their own unique aesthetic, and while Liberty Falls is, yes, also a multiplayer map by the name of Rewind, it does have its own feeling to it, its own aesthetic, and it does feel like an actual zombies map, not just a multiplayer, like a take from a multiplayer map. Terminus is 100% zombies only, and you can tell it feels really cool, aesthetically pleasing, and it is really creative. The map looks like it was a weird mixture of Mob of the Dead and Zetsabo and a Transit, and it's just a really cool time, and Liberty Falls feels like a modern town style. And again, I talked about it a bit earlier, and I've talked about it in the past, but Terminus in general feels like it is a prison map on an island in the middle of the ocean, and there's these big tentacle monsters and krakens you have to fight, and amalgams, and then there's Liberty Falls, which is set in a nice little town in the daytime, and it doesn't feel like facility-based boring maps anymore. They do feel creative, and both maps do feel like they have their own unique personality to them that are separate from previous maps and previous games, and that I do genuinely really appreciate them doing and them actually listening to us on. Overall, for the game as a whole, if I was to rank this game as a whole, I would rank it a 7 out of 10. Obviously, it's not done yet. The year still has plenty to go. We have a DLC map 1 coming out soon in December, actually. Can't wait to cover that. I'm going to be covering that on the channel too, but overall, with Terminus and Liberty Falls and Black Ops 6 Zombies mechanics and everything as a whole, I genuinely do really like this game, and I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's not the best game in the world, it's subject to change, keep that in mind, and I will change my review if necessary, but that is kind of my review overall of Liberty Falls and Terminus and Black Ops 6 Zombies as a whole. I think it's a fun time. I think the mini-bosses are a bit too much, and they need to cut down on them, especially when one of them is something that we've dealt with a million times, and I will also add that I know from what I've seen at least that I think there are mimics in the campaign mission where you fight zombies, and if that's true, I haven't played the campaign, but if that's true, please tell me that's not the case, because mimics are already in the game, that they're going to be added to a map in the future. We do not need mimics. Please do not add mimics. I am begging you to not add them. Now, I promised a couple hot takes. I've already said quite a few in this video, but I will say this. This is the best zombies game to come out since Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, depending on which one I really like more. I think since Black Ops 4, because I like Black Ops 3 more, but I did love Black Ops 4, but genuinely, this is the best game to come out since then. If we're counting non-Treyarch games, IW also, but in general, this is an amazing game, and I genuinely love this game. I will also add another hot take to that is I think that this game, by the end of the year, will be a top 5 game guaranteed. I think that if it stays on this track, and I think it will, that this game will be a top 5 zombies game. I also think that Black Ops 3 is my favorite zombies game, but I will say that just because a game is not Black Ops 3 does not mean it is bad or mean that it is worse than any other zombies game we've played. The maps are amazing, and here's one more hot take for you to end off on before I go, and that is that Liberty Falls is an amazing casual map and probably the best casual experience map on launch that we have ever gotten. I know the Giant exists, I love the Giant, but at the end of the day, I think I'd rather play Liberty Falls than the Giant, because if I was going to play the Giant, I'd rather play Doris. There's also the fact that Liberty Falls just has more to do, plain and simple. It has a lot of side quests that are all really fun and entertaining. There's the Bowen one, there's the Aetherella superhero one, there is the Dancing Zombies one. There is plenty of stuff to do in the map, plus it has a full main quest Easter egg, which is not something that can be said for a good chunk of other zombies maps that are casual maps. It is a fun map, and I do not hate it. I actually like it a lot. That being said, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what your review of Black Ops 6 Zombies is down in the comments down below. Do you guys think that I was too nice to it? Do you guys think I was a little too harsh? Do you guys like it? Do you guys not like it? What is your general overall sentiment around the game? That being said, I'm going to end this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and I know this was a rather long review, but I had a lot to say on the topic at hand, so I just wanted to make this video to go ahead and cover all my bases. I am going to end now. I will see you guys later on. I will see you guys in the next video, in the next stream, and in the next map. Peace out.